All right, everybody, this is one of the last new things I'm going to ask you guys to learn this year. So you are in the home stretch. We're almost done. So please make sure that you're looking at that remote learning category and making sure that you've got enough points to be at a passing grade for this semester. If you're not sure how to calculate that or where that comes from, or you're struggling with, finding the number of points or how much more do I need, that sort of thing, feel free to send me an email or reach out during office hours and I can help you calculate that really quick. All right, so this is the last one. What we're going to talk about today is your last lesson was talking about stretches, both vertically and horizontally. This one's just going to talk about left, right, and up, down. Now, here's the best part. So here's the function of cosine of x, right? That looks like your parent function, no big deal. The left, right, up, down is still exactly the same as it always was. So left and right but backwards, up and down but normal. So yay, not much has changed, right? Every single function I show you guys, it's still the same thing. So my recommendation actually is to do a lot of the stretches first. So if there's an A value for that amplitude, or if there's a B value in here that makes the period a little, stretch out or thin out, do those values first. And what I would do is I would take a pencil and make the sketch just like you would have on your homework these last 2 days. Then what I would do is then take all your points and do your up, downs, and left, rights and all that to figure out where it goes. So here's a couple examples, right? So cosine is this blue one right here. Nothing changed, right? This is the parent function, like nothing too crazy. But then all of a sudden, once you move it minus pi over 2, means you're going right pi over 2. This point, instead of being at 0, 1, is now at pi over 2, 1. All right, so all you're doing is taking every point and just shifting it to the right. Same thing if there was a plus pi over 2, you'd shift everything to the left. Okay, again, I recommend doing A and B first. So like figuring out what the new period is, figuring out if the range is being stretched or shrunk, then worry about left, right, up, down. So vertical shift, same thing. Here's our parent function for cosine here in blue. So all that happens is if that's your parent function and we're going up 3, instead of being at 0, 1 right here, we're at 0, 4. Okay, so this part actually should be much easier, I think. The hardest part, though, is combining this with what you just practiced on Monday and Tuesday. Okay, just another example, same thing. Okay, tangent usually goes through 0, 0. So all we did was instead moved it to the right, left and right, but backwards, pi over 2, to kind of adjust that. You don't necessarily have to put all the asymptotes in when you're making these graphs. As long as it's kind of ish, you can. But I would prefer for that new green graph, it would be nice to have those asymptotes labeled, okay? Okay, same idea. If you put a +1 at tangent, right, all it does is just shift everything up 1. So it's kind of the same idea. The thing is with tangent, though, you only really have 1 point to shift up. So you just know, okay, if it was right here and I'm going up 1, all right, same exact graph, it's just up a little bit. Okay, so that's the level of accuracy I'm looking for. You don't need to do anything else, too crazy. So here's a couple examples. One thing I want to let you guys know is these worksheets are in degrees. So if that screws you up, just like I mentioned on Monday and Tuesday, you can change all of these graphs to be in radians if that's helpful. So for example, when I'm adding 30, I'm not adding 30 radians, I'm adding 30 degrees, okay? So what you have to think about is, okay, cosine, normally it's at 0, 1 and has a period of 2 pi, right? So 2 pi is the same thing as 360 degrees. So normally it looks something like, and then this comes down to here, something like that, right? That's that first little section. So that's what I would put with my pencil first. Then you could take another color too if you wanted to. Since I'm moving 30 degrees, but it's plus 30 degrees, I'm going left 30 degrees. So this right here is 300, so in between each one is 60 degrees. So if I'm going left 30 degrees, I'm literally only adjusting this point to right here, this point to right here, and this point to right here. And then what I would do is I'd erase all the blue stuff, and then plot the rest of my graph. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate. As long as you're practicing the kind of ish as to what these do, then those of you that are planning on taking the SAT, you'll be ready to go. Those of you that are going to pre-calc next year, that's the basics of what you'll need to know so you can start on par with everybody else. Okay. So right, you can kind of see how it went from this dot used to be right at 360, now it's just left a little bit. That's really all that's changing. I want to show you one that's a little bit tougher though. Oh, if you see something like this, go ahead, this guy right here, go ahead and rewrite it as sinus theta plus 2. So you know it's like the plus k, the up and down. Just be careful with that. Same thing with like number 6. If you want to put parentheses around theta, so you know this is up and down, right? So there might be some slight adjustments that you want to work through, but I think you'll be okay. The thing I wanted to talk about is something like number 8. Okay, there's a lot happening in number 8. So here's what I recommend. First thing you have to be careful of is you see how there's 2 theta and the plus 45 inside of the parentheses, okay? One thing I would do is I would focus on the 2 first, draw a sketch, focus on the 3, adjust my sketch, then I would worry about the whole left 45 degrees and down 2. Okay, so that's the order I would do it in. Do the B stretch, okay, so like kind of almost like the horizontal stretch. Worry about the period, right? Then worry about how high or low it goes. So instead of 0, 1, it'll be 0, 3, for example, because of the 3. Then once you have that kind of general sketch, then worry about left, right, up, down, and erase your old graph to get your final one, okay? So like, for example, here's what this one looks like a little bit, right? So the 3 has caused it to be a little bit more up and down, right? The 2 caused the period to no longer be 2 pi, but to instead be pi. So if I look at that, you can kind of see that period setting over, right? But notice how it's not at the top point because they went left 45 degrees and down 2, right? So that's where that shift comes from, okay? So just do one step at a time. If you are a visual person, I've actually seen students do like, they'll do this 2 in blue, this one in red, this one in green, right? And then have a lot of different colors and just tell me this is the color I want. The only thing I'd be careful with that is students tend to get really confused then. They're like, wait, what was the last graph I was working with? So that's why I would use a pencil to do this shift. Then take my pencil and make this new one and erase the old one. So it's almost like you're going to be making essentially 4 graphs and erasing the first 3 and keeping the very last one. So that's just a recommendation, but there's a lot of different ways you can kind of go about this. Okay, so there's a couple examples here. Like if you want to slow down and look at the answer key, you can. Don't forget, you can also come and see me for office hours, so I can help you out there. And then today I'm going to assign homework number 3, but you will have tomorrow as well to finish it and submit it. So only work on homework number 3, like I said, you know, earlier this week, maybe like 20, 30 minutes tops. And then at whatever point you get to, finish it the next day and submit it. So you're kind of not doing too much all at once, okay? But it's up to you. I mean, if you want to just knock it all out right now and submit it, you can, knowing that there's nothing new tomorrow. As always, stop by, see me for office hours because the stuff is hard and I want to make sure I can help in any way that I can, okay? Good luck, guys.